Innovation is often portrayed as loud disruption. But today, we're exploring how a tiny company quietly revolutionized an entire industry by building an invisible bridge that nobody noticed until it changed everything.
That's quite a teaser. What kind of bridge are we talking about here? Something physical or metaphorical?
Well, imagine two groups of highly skilled professionals who desperately needed to work together but spoke completely different languages. In the tech industry, designers and developers were like neighbors separated by an impossible chasm.
Oh, wow. I've actually seen this firsthand. The classic design versus development struggle that seems to plague every project.
Mm-hmm. And here's what makes this story so fascinating. For decades, everyone just accepted this disconnect as an unchangeable fact. Like, oh well, that's just how it is, right?
So, what made this particular company's approach different? Because I'm guessing they didn't just create another fancy design tool.
That's exactly what makes this so interesting. Instead of building more tools, they fundamentally reframed the problem. They asked, what if we could create a space where these two groups could actually understand each other?
Hmm, that's quite a shift from the usual Silicon Valley approach of disrupting everything in sight.
And here's the really brilliant part. They did it so quietly that most people didn't even realize what was happening. No flashy marketing, no bold claims about revolutionizing the industry. They just built this bridge,
Well, that's pretty unusual in today's market. Most tech companies can't wait 5 minutes before declaring they're changing the world.
right? And what started happening in teams that adopted this solution was remarkable. The entire conversation changed from, you broke my design, and this is impossible to build, to something completely different.
What kind of changes did they see?
So get this, teams started asking questions like, how can we make this work together? And what if we tried this approach? The whole dynamic shifted from confrontation to collaboration.
That's making me think about how many other industries might benefit from this kind of bridge building approach.
Oh, and here's something that really struck me. The founders later said, we didn't build a product. We solved a misunderstanding. That statement captures the essence of what made their approach so different.
That's actually quite profound when you think about it. They saw beyond the technical challenges to the human element of the problem.
And what's fascinating is how this spread through the industry. It wasn't through aggressive sales tactics or massive marketing budgets. It was purely through word of mouth, with teams telling other teams about this transformation.
That kind of organic growth usually signals something really special is happening. People don't naturally recommend things unless they're truly transformative.
Well, here's another layer to consider. This bridge didn't just improve communication, it actually changed how both groups approached their work. Designers started thinking about technical feasibility earlier, while developers began considering user experience in their implementation.
So they essentially created a new shared language rather than just translating between two existing ones.
Exactly. And what's particularly powerful is how this challenges our traditional notion of innovation. We're so used to thinking about breakthrough technologies or revolutionary new features.
But sometimes the real breakthrough is in making existing things work better together, isn't it?
And you know what's really interesting? The teams that adopted this approach reported not just better final products, but also higher job satisfaction and lower stress levels.
Well, that makes perfect sense. Nothing creates more workplace stress than constant miscommunication and misaligned expectations.
So here's what I find most inspiring about this whole story. It shows how sometimes the quietest innovations can have the most profound impact. They didn't set out to change the world in a dramatic way. They just wanted to help people work better together.
That's really the heart of it, isn't it? The best solutions often come from deeply understanding the human element of a problem.
And perhaps that's the most valuable lesson we can take from this story, that in our rush to build new things, we shouldn't forget about building bridges between the things and people we already have.
That's a perfect way to wrap this up. Like sometimes the biggest innovations are the ones that bring people together rather than push them apart.
And you know what? Maybe that's exactly what more companies need to focus on. Not just building products, but building understanding.